Hey, everybody, welcome back to the. Oh, I don't know what that was, but welcome back to the Jim Feist Pro Football Handicapping Show. My name is Tommy Canale. I'm the host of the show, and unfortunately today Jim is under the weather, not feeling well, so he's not going to be joining us. Jim, if you're watching, I hope you feel better, and we'll see you back here real soon. But next to me, we do have a couple of guys that are going to be with me today. The guy to my right, he is the RJ College regular season winner. He's won it twice in a row, and he also, in 2024, won the South Point Bowl Challenge. Been with us a couple times. Chip Chirimbes, how are you?
Great. As long as we're playing football.
We are playing football. And also next to him is a guy who's been with us a couple times. I think it's the first time he's been with us this year. Labeled as America's #1 pro sports handicapper and professional sports bettor, Erin Rynning. Erin, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to be back on the show this year.
Good. Let's get into it. We have no more buys until we get to the playoffs, and then there'll be buys. Can you turn that speaker out that way for me, please, Chris? That's way to avoid any kind of. There we go. Perfect. All right. We don't have any more buys until we get to the playoffs, and then there'll be buys for the teams that get them. But let's get into it. Tomorrow, we have Atlanta at Tampa Bay. The Bucs are favored by 4.5. The total's 44.5. Their season's going to come down to the two games against Carolina Panthers. They get beat last week against the Saints. Erin, let me go to you. What's your thoughts right now on Tampa Bay, and where is this team headed?
Well, we'll have a good idea about this time, or a little bit after this time tomorrow. Baker Mayfield played just incredible. Winning those late games, etc. It talks for MVP, and he gets a little bit banged up, can't complete the passes like he was. And let's be honest, this offense has been banged up all season long with the wide receivers. The stud left tackle missed last week. So I think the answer is probably in between there somewhere. So, but yeah, certainly to me, the class here of the NFC South, I didn't bet this game. I think it is a good spot. I didn't bet the side here. I think it is a good spot for Tampa Bay to come back after that bad loss to New Orleans last week. The Falcons look like very much a dead team. Drake London, their best wide receiver, is not going to play. We don't know the status of Evans or Wirfs coming into this game. Again, two key pieces for the Buccaneers. I am going to play. I think the best way to play this one would be under the total. I think Atlanta with Cousins, a little less firepower, and again, Tampa Bay just hasn't been able to score like they've been capable. So under the total for me.
Chip, what are you doing on this game?
Tampa's playing like like an injured team.
Well, they are they're very banged up.
Atlanta's lost 7 of 8, and Atlanta's won 4 straight division titles. But this game, Atlanta's coming off their worst home loss since they've started playing in the new Georgia Dome. So I have a tendency to want to take the points here.
Okay.
And trying to back Atlanta's a losing proposition. They've only covered 5 of their 12 games or 13 games so far. It's a tough take because Atlanta just hasn't shown that they can play.
Yeah, I mean, and just to add to that, the underdog side, like I say, I think it's a good spot for Tampa Bay to come back after that bad loss last week. But with that said, from a power rating perspective, I can only get to about 3.5 on this game, so that's why I passed the side.
Let's get into Sunday. The first game I want to bring up is the Cleveland at Chicago. The Bears, it was 7, now it's 7.5. The total's 39.5. A week ago, we were talking about the Bears being the #1 seed, and now they're the 7th seed. And I asked the question last week as a possible, I guess you could call it a prop, but I wanted to know what was more likely to happen, that Kansas City would not make the playoffs, so the Bears would. And now we're looking at a situation where neither one of them could possibly make the playoffs. Chip, what's your thoughts first off? Are the Bears legit? Is this a playoff team, or is this team just not going to make the playoffs?
Well, I have some very good friends whose opinions I appreciate.
Okay.
And, they said last week the Bears were not going to make the playoffs.
All right.
Because of their schedule. I think they have to play Green Bay again. That was a big game last week for them. And because of the possibility of them actually, getting beat on their way out. Cleveland, what are you going to do with them? I mean,
That's even a better question on that side.
You want to bet Shakur? I don't.
Are you going to take the game? Or are you going to pass this game?
If I was to play, I would probably play Cleveland.
What about you,
If I was to
Aaron?
play, I don't know if I would.
Okay. Are you going to play the game?
I personally, I did not play this game. I would say I've been betting on both of these teams. I guess kind of good and bad. Well, the Bears are definitely overrated. A lot of people couldn't wait to go against them last week against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, kind of a sharp crowd with that. The turnover luck that they've been able to generate. Just things have just kind of fallen well for them. With that said, I think the coach here is really good, and I think they've had some buy-in, and I think they still have the door open to get better and better. You saw once again last week, Caleb Williams. Just that's kind of the big question. Did not look good. Could not make the game-winning play last week against the Packers. So, for me and the Bears, when they've been at their best, they've been able to run the ball here. And I'm not sure. I mean, Tennessee ran the ball very well against Cleveland. I think that Cleveland defense is probably going a little bit the other way now. So it's kind of up to that if they can run the ball. But I don't quite trust the Bears here to be a 7.5 point favorite in this game. And, I'm not sure where the Browns are here from a mentality perspective either.
Aaron, let me just ask you this question because I'm going to get into Baltimore and Cincinnati. Is that a touchdown last week for the Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, it's you can argue it all day long. I mean, nobody knows. Like you say, it's
Chip, you think it was a touchdown?
Yes.
I believe it was a touchdown as well.
yeah. I mean,
you have to take a third step.
Well, I mean, if you look at the rule book, it states that if it breaks the plane, you have possession 2 feet down, it's a touchdown. That would tell me it's a touchdown. That's where I'm going.
I mean,
You think it's a touchdown.
it's Baltimore's season in a nutshell with the turnovers. Because remember Thanksgiving night, it was lively, fumbled at the goal line, and it turns into a touchback. I mean, that's just kind of how it's worked for this team so far this year.
Aaron, on this game, then Ravens are favored by 2.5. The total's 51.5, a high total. What do you like in this side?
I will have a small bet here. I believe on the Ravens 2.5. I still have to finish a couple other things with my work, but it'll be a small bet for me at that because very tough to trust this team right now. I mean, the big thing about so many of these teams this year that have power rated really well the last couple of years, whether it's the Eagles or the Baltimore. I mean, you watch them; they're just not that good. Certainly not as sharp as they've been. Whether you can start with the quarterback, Lamar Jackson, and his injuries, but even the offensive, defensive line, just not the caliber of team that they've been in previous years. So, and I still think we don't know where Cincinnati is. T. Higgins, a concussion, very questionable whether he's going to suit up for this game. Obviously, the offense is well suited. Going to be very cold here on Sunday afternoon. For me, no Hendrickson. I still think the Cincinnati defense is not good. Even if you watch that game Thanksgiving night, the Bengals were still able to go up and down the field against them. So I'll have a small bet here on 2.5 at the Ravens.
Chip, your thoughts on this game? I mean, Burrow's back. Cincinnati can, as Aaron said, can get up and down the field and put up numbers. Are you on his side or are you on the total?
I play the total here. I think that the difference when Cincinnati has Burrow and doesn't have him is it's incredible. I mean, he should be getting votes for MVP, even though
He's only missed 8 games, 9 games.
7 of the last 10 have gone over between these two. I don't see Cincinnati stopping anybody. Baltimore's defense isn't what I think what our image of what they're supposed to be, the Ravens. They're just not playing defense the way they have in the past. I play this game over. I think, Burrow's the key to me as far as scoring with Cincinnati. They don't stop anybody, but they should be able to score against this Raven defense.
I agree.
I wouldn't argue with that either. That's on my list of perhaps bets here.
Yeah. Let's move into Arizona at Houston. Texans are a 9.5 point favorite. Total's 42.5. And the Texans are right now a 7 seed. Aaron, let me go with you. I mean, how dangerous is Houston if they get into the postseason?
I mean, we saw last Sunday night. I mean, about as dangerous as just about anybody with that defense that can get against the quarterback and cause some havoc. To me, I've talked about this in the NFL going back, probably the last 5 years. Obviously, you've had these great quarterbacks in the league, like a Patrick Mahomes. To me, you always look for those teams that can stop them is because they can create pressure. And, that's what this Houston team can do just about better than anyone. Denver's right up there as well. It's kind of the kryptonite of these great offenses in the NFL. So very capable. As far as this game, I didn't go anywhere. I mean, Arizona kind of very much like, I guess, Atlanta. I saw both teams get blown out last week. It looks like dead duck coach here for Arizona, backup quarterback. Hard to make heads or tails which direction this Arizona team is going. It seems like it's going down, that's for sure.
Chip, in this game, then, obviously Houston needs this game a whole lot more than Arizona does. So are you going to take the Texans side?
I think I'd play this game under the total. Arizona is they're like my Auburn. I mean, it doesn't matter when you have them, you're not going to cover. Houston's only gone over 3 times the entire season. And they're at home. I think they've won 5 straight. I think their defense will probably dictate the tempo. And I think they're going to keep it under the total. Arizona's lost 5 in a row, 9 of 10. Don't I know it? Their only win was on a Monday night against Dallas when Dallas just handed them the ball game. I mean, they just gave them the game. And I don't like Arizona at all.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, Arizona's been the team for me all year that I can't put my fifth thumbnail on. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their identity is. I don't know what kind of team this is. I've never been able to figure out who Arizona is this year, so I quit trying to figure it out. That's where I'm going with it. Erin, we have the New York Jets at Jacksonville. Are the Jags surging at exactly the right time? Erin, do you think?
Not sold on that.
You're not sold.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they are. I'm just asking the question because of where they're moving up in the season stuff.
Yeah, I mean, boy, we have some mismatches this week. I mean,
the line's up to 12.5 and 41.5 total.
Yeah, the Jets don't know who their quarterback is. I don't think they know a lot of things, and we see this defense regress now since they made the trade to the Dallas Cowboys. It's very much of a mess. So for me, it's almost 2 bet against teams. I think the Jets are a bet against because we know they're bad, not good, not well coached. The Jags, I still don't trust Lawrence in a big spot to make the plays and to go, I guess, pass for pass against some of the still better quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not sold on this Jacksonville coach. I think their defensive coordinator is really good. I've been trying to play them more under the total, but I still think in a big spot, I'm not sure I trust the quarterback and Lawrence. So to be a player in the AFC, I wouldn't go that far. To be able to beat a Jets team, they certainly should be good enough.
Chip, I know that it's the Jets, but the line at 12.5 seems too much to me.
I don't even think the green slime can cover that. I'm just not not enamored with them at all, even as a New Yorker. I mean, their coaching still leaves a lot to be desired. And who's quarterback?
I don't know. I have no idea.
This is the NFL, right?
Well, you're supposed to have a depth chart of quarterbacks, and obviously they've ran out.
Yeah, rookie Cook was taking snaps today for first team practice, so that tells you a little bit right there.
Right. So, are you on a side on this, Chip, at all? Or are you passing?
I just ignored this game.
You ignored it?
Usually double-digit games I just disregard.
I get it. Let's talk about the LA Chargers at Kansas City. And before we get into the line, let's talk a little bit about this game. First off, Erin, Herbert can't save the Chargers by himself, can he?
It's pretty tough to. I mean, he's taking a beating, no question about it.
Right, I don't think he can. And Kansas City's 9-year run of winning the division is over. The Chiefs have a 4.5. They're a 4.5 point favorite at home. Total's 41.5. Chargers currently at the 5 seed. Who needs this game more, Aaron?
I guess you'd have to say Kansas City, but I don't know. I don't know what they envision at this point after that bad loss last Sunday. It is interesting about this Kansas City team because, I mean, I think I had them power rated higher this year than I did last year. And obviously they had the 1 loss and go to the Super Bowl. And I'm not the only one of professional type people that saw the talent on this team and had them rated very high. But, what your talent says and how you play on the field, it obviously hasn't been there. But I've seen this weakness in the Chiefs for, a couple of years. Last year they win the 1-score games. This year they lose the 1-score games. But, Kelsey, obviously not the same player he was. Mahomes hasn't looked that good in many times as well. So it's just kind of an odd team. And, with the line here, 4.5, you still see respect here for the Chiefs against a Chargers team that looked pretty good. The Chargers are interesting as well as far, the offensive line is, losing those tackles, I thought was just killer for this team. Ken Herbert stay up and make plays. And he did. I thought he didn't play that well in the end, but he did a great job, about as well as he could do. And not a lot of weapons for him to work with. The defense is still very good. Boy, this was a tough game. Again, I still rated Kansas City, just like the market here, to win this game by margin. And you kind of lean a little bit under the total maybe, but I couldn't get there as well. That was bet down.
Chip, is this a good or a bad spot for the Chargers?
They're 1-4 on the road, and they won 5 of the last 6. They opened the season with a win against this team. But Kansas City is 5-2 at home. They haven't played well on the road at all, and they've won 7 meetings in a row until the opening game this season. I think I have to have Kansas City here. I just and my gut tells me that they have to rise. If they don't, we've been saying all season long, this is a must game for them. If everyone else keeps losing, it doesn't matter. I mean, everyone else is going down. But I think this is a turning point. They would need this.
So you think that Kansas City needs it more than the Chargers do?
Oh, I'd say so.
It'll be interesting which way the market kind of sends this game as well, because we saw nothing but Kansas City money on Sunday night against Houston. That was a 3-point spread. I saw it as high as 5.5, I think, Sunday night before they kicked off. And then Monday, San Diego took big time money. That closed as much as a pick 'em. So we'll see which way the money goes here.
I'm anxious to see where the money goes on this one. This is the big matchup. Buffalo at New England. Patriots are favored by 1.5. Totals up to 49.5. Is this just a money line play, Aaron?
I don't know. Right now, it's not a play for me. I still, of all the teams in the AFC, I still have Buffalo power rated the highest.
You do?
I do. Impressed with what they were able to do the last couple of weeks. And again, the AFC, I have more of the Rams, Detroit, power rated well, in the East, and Seattle. So I kind of have those 4 teams pretty close to one another. I don't have New England there. It's been hard to power rate New England that hard, and I've tried to, just because the schedule has been so weak, and they've been able to do it with relative ease. So I'm looking forward to this game. And again, it's kind of a good spot. Obviously, they get the week off to prepare. May has been absolutely brilliant in watching his games. You almost wonder if he can continue to play this well, because
It's like he found something.
well, it's very difficult to throw the deep pass as well as he has game in, game out this year. It's amazing how well he's been able to complete those, and really opens up everything for what they want to do. I think, if anything, he could be a little bit disappointed in this defense so far with Vrabel and the Patriots, kind of mid-tier, if you will. We'll see if they can improve, but obviously if they go on to keep winning and get home field advantage, it's still going to be a very tough team. Buffalo, the offense is always going to be there with a great quarterback in Allen. Defense, they've definitely had their issues as well. They struggled really against the run. Interesting to see how they'll match up here against the Patriots with that. So, I thought the spot favored New England. I think Buffalo's still the better team. I did not make a bet here.
Chip, I said last week on the show that something's off with Buffalo. I don't know what it is. It just seemed like something's off. Some of the play calls don't make sense. What's your thoughts on this team?
I think their defense is a little bit, say, a step below what it has been in the past. And I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo to score. I like them in this game.
Okay.
Particularly because they got beat the first time they played them. And Drake May, I mean, you give any quarterback a pro, except for maybe Fields and a few others out there, you give them a little time, and they're gonna throw the ball well. He's a great passer, and he has been. And these quarterbacks need to have a little bit more time, and that's what he has this year, but he hasn't had in the past. He's a rookie last year, I believe, right? And he's grown. He's certainly grown. And I like, in spite of that, I just think it's a situation where Buffalo is going to muscle up.
Because you think they'll win the game?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Here's the game that, well, I guess somebody's got to be favored, but you got Washington, the New York Giants. The Commanders were favored by 2.5. The total's 47.5. I'm trying to remember last time that Commanders were favored, but they're on the road even. So, Erin, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, they just didn't sound like Daniels is going to play here for Washington. I was actually surprised he was maybe going to play after he left the game. They said he could have returned to the game last week for the Commanders, and but no, they're going to hold him out. I'm surprised he's almost going to play the rest of the year, to be honest. But so we'll see where it goes. Obviously, a step down for what this team wants to do this year and moving forward as well. I think Mariota's an all right backup quarterback, but still leaves a little bit left to be desired. And I think this Washington defense is improved slightly since the head coach has kind of taken over the defensive coordinator job. Again, they couldn't get much worse. And the Giants get a week off. We're not quite sure what they're going to do. Again, a team without a lot of weapons for me, with the backup quarterback for Washington, obviously the rookie quarterback for the Giants. I'm going to have a small bet under the total. Under the total in this game.
You know, is Seamus going to start or start the back?
The rookie.
I wasn't sure about who was going to be playing there. Either way, these teams suffer offensively.
Are you going to take anything on this game?
I'll wait. I'm surprised that Washington actually came up with favorite.
I'm with you.
I mean, they were horrid last week,
Especially on the road.
They're 1-6 on the road. The Giants haven't won the road yet, and they're 2-3 at home. Washington's lost 8 straight, one cover, and it's hard to take either one of these teams. The Giants have been crippled. They lost Scatterboo. They lost the quarterback's back, but Neighbors, a big receiver, and then. I think Washington might have, now that I'm looking at it, might emerge as, I would play it on the money line if I was to play it.
Okay. Let's move into, it's even hard to call it a team, but our Las Vegas Raiders are going to Philadelphia. The line was at 12.5. I just looked before we got on the show. It's down to 11. The total's at 38. Erin, I just don't see the Raiders competing with anybody the rest of the year.
Oh, you missed that final minute last week. I was actually in attendance. I was at the game last week, and you could see some things brewing there. But boy, what an amazing cover by the Raiders last week, and again, it kind of gets it over the total as well. So definitely some spread hijinks. But at the end of the game, it was pretty much all Denver fans, and I would say half of them probably had a bet on the Broncos. You could just see the wind coming right out of the stadium after that. So very bizarre. But yeah, Las Vegas doesn't know exactly who's going to be the quarterback at this point. We know Carroll is probably very loyal to Geno Smith. But with that said, I don't know why you wouldn't give Kenny Pickett at least a chance. He seemed to do a little bit better as far as just getting the ball out, not taking all those sacks. Again, not quite what we're going to do. Carroll said he'd probably go with Smith if that shoulder was good enough. So no, I agree. I've seen the Raiders play twice in person, and just an organization that needs to figure something out here once again. But the Eagles, no prize here. Do you want to lay double digits with this team that's looked so bad and has a hard time putting it together offensively? So I would say almost 2 bet against teams. In my mind, the total is so low now, 38. So no bet for me.
Chip, in this game, is this just a game Philadelphia doesn't, show up 100% for, and Las Vegas covers?
I think Philly has to show up. They've lost 3 in a row now. I don't think they're worried about losing in the division, but still, they have to get their mindset. Barkley looked pretty good for the first time this year the other night, and Raiders have lost 7 in a row, and I don't anticipate them getting any better at all. When I see the team, I expected a better performance from the coaches. I expected the team to be. They look disheveled and disorganized at times, and silly penalties still, when you're jumping procedure penalties or formation penalties at this time of the year. I couldn't possibly take Vegas.
Okay. I understand. I understand.
And Philadelphia's averaged just over 14 points in their last 5 games. They haven't scored more than 19 or 21, 10, 15. So where's their offense?
I don't know. We'll see if it shows up on Sunday.
But big, what, 14 interceptions for Hurts, and he's been taking a beating in the media in Philadelphia, which you take a beating there when you're winning. So
Yeah, you're right. And we'll get into the Pittsburgh media here when we get to that game. But, Erin, the most intriguing matchup, just for me personally this week, is Green Bay at Denver.
Yeah.
And Packers are favored on the road by 2.5. Totals at 43. What's your thoughts on this game, and did you take anything on this game?
No bet for me yet. It was interesting. Like I say, I was at the Raider Denver game, and I was in attendance with the Denver fan. And after the game was over, I said, what's the spread next week? When they play the Packers, I couldn't get off of a pick'em. I couldn't get to Green Bay favored by 2.5, and my ratings kind of agreed with me. With that said, am I going to come here and make a bet? This is what we talk about. You have Jordan Love all of a sudden an MVP candidate, perhaps, in the NFL against a defense with Denver that can get pressure on the quarterback, and they come at you with waves. They're a very deep defense to be able to get pressure on you. Very capable in the secondary. And we saw about mid-season, teams were able to slow Green Bay down when they were playing that two deep shell kind of defense and make Love kind of go the length of the field, and maybe he would make a mistake, take a big play away from him. That's what you have to do to slow him down. So again, that's just the way I see it being played out. For me, Denver's been so good, and getting points here at home, for me, that would be the only way I could play it. I doubt we get 3 here. Maybe you get 3 minus 120, 125 or something. But, the Packers have been a popular team that's getting bet. And, for me, Sean Payton and Bo Nix, they can be very conservative and just kind of wait for the other team to make a mistake. So we'll see how it works out.
Chip, you agree with him?
I think it's going to be a defensive game. I was surprised that the Packers actually come up favored. I mean, the Denver, are they 10-2, I believe? And I think it's supposed to be defense all the way here. I mean, I really have no love for Green Bay.
Okay.
So I think with Parsons on their defense now, that's what they're going to be keying on.
All right, so you're going to take what?
I play under.
You're going to play under. Okay. All right. Aaron, let's move into Detroit and the Rams. Rams are favored by 5.5. The total is a high total at 55.5. Can this total go over? I mean, it can, but do you see it?
I certainly can. It's not easy to play either of these teams over the total. I've actually had a little bit of success playing Detroit unders, but it's never too comfortable. It's never a great feeling when I bet them under. I've lost some bets as well. I'm not going to be involved with the total. I will have a small bet on Detroit here, +6. I saw it did get bet up a little bit from the opener, and the market loves the Rams, and deservedly so. I think if you really investigate the schedule, it's a little bit questionable. They've caught some weak teams. They've caught some teams at the right time. I still think they're very good, and we saw it last week at Arizona. But boy, to give this Detroit team 6 points, remember, Detroit has traveled so well here, just as far as attendance. You see the powder blue, the Hawaii blue uniforms in LA here. I think they'll have a very good crowd for this game. You still get Jared Goff in a dome. Again, from a power rating perspective, what did I say? I said I still have Detroit, Rams, Seattle, all pretty much even. Give or take a point and a half, depends on the week. Keep in mind the Rams, of course, have that battle against Seattle next Thursday, so a big game there. So I'll have a small bet here on the Lions +6.
Chip, what's your thoughts on this one?
My first impression was that the number was very strong.
I believe it. I agree.
And, if you start looking at Detroit compared to where they were last year, I mean, it's a totally different team, and I think injuries have had a big effect on their offense. But I have to wait on this one. I really do. I'd like to see where the action's going and talk to some people about it, because that number is so strong. And my first impression was that this is a must game for Detroit, isn't it? I mean, they're just about to be gone if they could be here. So I have to wait on this. I think that
you're going to wait and see.
Yeah, I have to see the way the action is going to come down on this one. I really do, because that number sort of took me back. I didn't think it'd be higher than 4.5 at any time.
All right, we'll see where it goes. Aaron, let's move into Carolina at New Orleans. Panthers are favored by 2.5. The total's at 40.5. Are the Saints going to be the division spoilers now? Now that they beat Tampa last week and then maybe knock off Carolina this week?
Certainly possible. I unfortunately, I think I bet on them against Atlanta 3 weeks ago, and they laid an egg in that game. That was off their bye. Again, you leave the door open. They had their bye. They make the change to the rookie quarterback, which seems to give them a better chance to win um, than they've had so far this year. Still have plenty of issues, but I always say with these first-year coaches, generally, if they're a decent coach, you'll see improvement. You'll see this team try hard throughout the years. A lot of times, first year coach team, you'll see them maybe play their best football towards the end of the season. And now that we're getting at what week 15 this week, that's kind of a good time to look to bet a team like New Orleans. So we saw that last week. Not sure this is the spot for that, though. Obviously, they get that upset against Tampa Bay last week. Meanwhile, Carolina has the bye. They seem to be on the improve, so you would think you're getting Carolina's best shot, which, for them is still a chance to win this division. So I'm going to sit this one out.
Chip, New Orleans getting 2.5 at home. Like or not like?
I think the line's shallow. I mean, beginning of the year, the Saints were, I think, probably. I don't know if you had them power rated the worst team in the league. Close to it.
The Saints?
Saints.
Thanks.
Were they your least power rated team, Aaron?
Boy, it'd be hard to pass up the Raiders and that's
and Carolina's shown. I'm surprised the line is as shallow as it is because Carolina's coming off the bye. They have shown that they certainly have improved from over last year, and we're looking for New Orleans, and they've been playing better.
They have.
They've covered.
That's why I wonder if they're going to be the division.
I heard some very good friends of mine last week, but not talking about this guy. I think Carolina's here is shallow. I think they might be in trouble.
Okay. Tennessee at San Francisco. Niners were favored by 13.5. Now it's down to 12.5. Total's 44.5. Aaron, is this too big of a number?
It's too big of a number for me. I mean, I a little bit like Chip. I don't like to have a lot to do with double-digit games, although over the past few years, we've seen double-digit favorites actually do pretty well in the NFL. I do have a bet on this game as well. And, we saw Tennessee Cleveland score, 60 points between the two teams. Again, his Ward looked pretty iffy, but if he's going to show any improvement, it's going to be going forward. And remember, San Francisco defense is not very good. They have a very difficult time. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL at putting pressure on the quarterback. So Ward, I think, has a chance to step forward in this game and be able to put some points on the board. And San Francisco, as we know, certainly capable of that. Off the bye, Shanahan gets a little extra time to prepare. Purdy gets a little extra time to prepare. They're getting healthier. They get their weapons back. So I thought it was a short total here, 44.5.
Chip, Aaron just brought up something that I've been thinking. Niners are getting more and more healthier. So is this the right line?
It may be, but it all depends on what their mindset is playing against a team like Tennessee. I have to believe that they think that they're just going to walk over this team. I haven't been impressed with Ward. Still waiting for him to come on. And I don't like double digits, but if I had to bet this one, I might.
You might?
I might.
Okay. Let's get into Indianapolis at Seattle. Daniel Jones suffered one of the most brutal injuries of the season, a ruptured Achilles. He was already playing with a fractured fibula. He's going to miss the rest of the season. The Colts have now brought in 8-time Pro Bowler quarterback in Phillip Rivers, signed him to the practice squad because quarterback Leonard's dealing with a grade 1 PCL sprain in his knee, and his status is up in the air. Seattle was favored by 11.5. It's up to 13.5, which I can understand. The total's 42.5. Aaron, who's quarterback in this weekend for the Colts?
That's a good question. I don't think we know the answer. It sounds more and more likely it's going to be Phillip Rivers. So it does. That makes it obviously very tricky because I guess you could have a firm opinion one way. Like there's zero chance Rivers is going to have any success, and there's some might think, hey, keep this team close and can't be that bad. The word is that what he runs, or his kid runs, the same Colts offense, the same one he ran in his NFL all the career, so he knows the offense. So they wouldn't bring him out here if that wasn't the case or what have you. You would expect them to try to run the ball as best as they can, which they've kind of struggled to do here the last month of the season. But we saw with his Colts offense. Once Jones had hurt his leg and he couldn't move around in the pocket, boy, this whole offense really kind of suffered after that. So, with Rivers, a lot of quick hitters, throw to the tight end, etc. Try to run as much as you can. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on this one. Like I say, I got Seattle power rated super high. Again, keep in mind they have that Thursday matchup with the Rams on that following Thursday. So it's a very tough game for me to bet.
Chip,
Which game you talking?
talking about Indianapolis at Seattle.
No, Indy is really, let's put it this way. At the beginning of the year, I had one prop bet that was Jones to be comeback player of the year. So that hurts.
Yeah.
They started off great. You know what's happened? They lost 3 in a row now. And if you're going to put Rivers in there, this is going to be the second team in the NFL that has a quarterback playing in a wheelchair. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers here. I don't know how he completes a pass. He's slow. And Pittsburgh, how they emerged, I don't know. But quarterback situation, I don't know if Rivers is actually going to play. He's been named to the practice
squad. Yeah.
It's unknown.
Yeah,
it's unknown.
So it's pretty hard to pull the trigger on this one.
I understand. I think it's a game you got to pass on. You don't know who's going to do what unless you're really in on Seattle and you think that they're just going to roll over on this team. I think that's the only way you go.
A lot of George Blanders playing.
Sunday night we got Minnesota at Dallas. Cowboys opened up at 6. It was down to 5.5 last time I looked. Totals at 47.5. Dallas is currently a 10 seed. Aaron, did the Cowboys make the playoffs?
I'd be surprised, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know their schedule coming up offhand, but very tough. That NFC's tough.
Let me look while you're doing that. I'll look and see what the schedule is.
Its game is still circled with the wide receiver here for Dallas. CD Lamb, questionable for this game. I would think he's probably got a good chance to play in this game, but we don't know that for sure. It's interesting because everyone talked about how this Dallas defense was on the improve, and I still think they are. You didn't see that last week against Detroit. I thought that was kind of a tough spot to go and play the Lions last week after obviously big wins against Philadelphia, big wins against Kansas City. I think they ran out of gas a little bit. So I would expect a better performance from Dallas defensively here. I mean, Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy looked great last week against Washington, but he hasn't looked very good at many of them. Turnover prone, not very accurate. Dallas, they've seen them go over the total so many times this year, but Minnesota, to me, is still kind of a dead under team. That defense, very, very good. They can't do much offensively with McCarthy still. So I thought you could find under 48. That was the bet I made on this one.
Their remaining schedule is versus the Chargers and then at the Commanders and at the Giants.
That's not bad, right?
Yeah.
So massive game here.
Yes. Chip, what's your thoughts on this game? Minnesota coming into Dallas.
After Minnesota's performance last week, I would expect them to. I don't know. I sort of like Dallas in this game. It's just off of what they did last week, both teams. And McCarthy, I guess he's played 2 quarters the whole season that have been decent, or maybe 4.
I mean, Jim has said it many times. He's not a fan of McCarthy, and I get it. He just hasn't performed all year. He is not the guy they thought he was going to be. That's for sure.
Definitely. And I'm just in shock that 2 years ago they made that decision to jettison Darnold and go with a guy with absolutely no experience whatsoever. And we know quarterbacks coming out of college struggle when their first year. I mean, Elway, you can look at him and you can look at Aikman. I mean, these guys were 1-14, 1-15. Eli Manning lost his first 9 games. And how they expected J.J. McCarthy, who wasn't all that impressive in college. He had one great drive against Alabama in the 4th quarter. I think that's why he got drafted number 1. It's hard to back Minnesota. It's hard to back any scoring, and yet you have Dallas who just gives up points in bunches. And how they got to move the ball?
I agree.
So I think probably the under might be the side.
Let's get into Monday night. Miami at Pittsburgh. The Steelers have held on to beat the Ravens in Baltimore. And, you said it, Aaron Rodgers, he's the other wheelchair guy. He was telling the Pittsburgh media, at least you guys will stay off our back for the next week. They're favored by 3.5. The total's at 42. Miami's been playing better since they got rid of their general manager. So I don't know if that was an issue or not. But, Aaron, what is Pittsburgh the play here?
I don't have a play. I don't have the answer. I mean, it seems like I guess you could argue with 59 that Pittsburgh's this team. They're only 3.5 over Miami, but you're right. Miami's improved, looked very good last week against the Jets. For me, I throw that out somewhat. That's because the Jets are so bad, but they've really focused on running the football, and they've just kind of been able to bully teams. The defense has been adequate for the Dolphins. It's still, the schedule's been pretty light for them here. In Pittsburgh, I haven't been crazy about it as well. I mean, it's an overrated defense. It's an overpaid defense. They looked better last week, but it comes in spurts. I mean, this defense should be a lot better than they played, and then you throw Aaron Rodgers in on it as well. Probably his best game of the season last week. Can he duplicate that 2 weeks in a row? So I really have no bet here.
What about you, Chip?
I'd take the dog here. I think Tua can expose this Steelers non-defense they have. But them and the Ravens are supposed to be two big defensive teams, and none of them tackle anybody. I'd play Miami here.
Okay. We're going to get asked for some questions, but before we do, I just want to make sure everybody remembers next week we will be back here. Tim Murray will be joining the show. Hopefully, Jim will be feeling better and he can join us. And also to let you know that the 2 weeks coming up, the Christmas week and New Year's week, we will be here on Tuesdays, not Wednesday. We'll be here on the 23rd of December and the 30th of December, not the 24th and the 31st. So make your plans right now to be here on those 2 Tuesdays. We will still have the show live here from Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Wine Bar at 9785 West Charleston Boulevard. The best pizza in town, the best happy hours. If you haven't been here, you'll have to get here. This patio is beautiful. We're on a great December day. It's like 70 degrees outside. I mean, we are very fortunate. So with all that being said, how many people out there in the audience have any questions for the panel? We can get to a few of them. Ken Thompson, go ahead. KT.
Hey, Chip, you're an old school guy like myself, so I wanted to get your take as far as, first of all, the analytical bullshit that we deal with now, and also the coaches, to where I feel like they're being influenced by maybe this younger generation. When I see Andy Reid go on a 4th and 1 in a tie game on his own 30, I'm like, I don't give a fuck how good you handicap the game. You get screwed right there because of that particular play late in the game. How is it affecting you now, looking at the coaches and also the analytics that has changed everything?
Well, it happened in the opposite fashion this past week when with under 5 minutes to go, I think Tampa Bay had a 4th down on the down 7 on the 20 in the 4th period, and they kicked the field goal, and they still needed a touchdown. And there's one time an analytics might have worked. I mean, I know a couple of guys are kind of sick about that because they had another field goal doesn't do them any good. They had to score a touchdown to tie that game, and they didn't go for it. That being said, these guys going for it on their own 29, and particularly in the first half, I think it's kind of silly. I try to not to think about it too much when I'm posting the game because I'm more of a numbers guy. I think that's already been indoctrinated into the line, but I don't like it. And baseball too. I mean, you haven't had a pitcher go 6 innings now in 4 years. It's terrible.
Any other questions?
I got one.
No. Ray?
I better believe it.
What do you got, my man?
Well,
Protection program over there.
how many rushing attempts? I know Jonathan Taylor's going to have a lot this week. He's got a 44-year-old quarterback. When it does come out, it has to come out. Yeah, where is it going to be? Where should I not grab it at? Where are they going to put it?
How many rushing attempts for Jonathan Taylor on the prop?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not my specialty. I don't do props, so I couldn't tell you. I don't even know what his average is. But the thing you worry about that is obviously Seattle's favored by 14. You expect them, and they've jumped out to huge leads. And our Steichens just kind of forgotten at times, especially in the second half. So that could definitely keep his rushes down.
Yeah.
And
You got any thought on that, Chip?
Rivers could be more throwing quick.
Never give it thoughts.
Okay. Chips have never given that a thought either. Chris, hold on. Chris, go ahead.
Earlier in the conversation, you were talking about how you have Buffalo as the highest rated in your car rankings. So, given that Josh Allen's he just has to carry him on his back and they're calling Superman and all that, is he, if he gets hurt or if he doesn't perform well, you kind of see what happens with those games.
For sure.
So what gives Buffalo that higher ranking over somebody else in your?
A lot of it, Josh. Let's be honest. I mean, he is super bad. Well, I think with him, what's so special is, and Lamar Jackson hasn't been able to run the ball like he has. Hurts hasn't run the ball like he has. Allen still run the ball and run people over, and that's a big advantage on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Even Herbert last night, just making those plays, extending drives, takes the air out of the defense. So to me, that's what kind of has them stick out. And the run game with Cook, when they just went up and down the field against Pittsburgh, that will help. Curious about their defense for sure.
We got 2 more. You're next.
Gino's out.
Gino's out.
Pickett's in.
Pickens in.
And the line did nothing when that information came out. So
The line has not changed.
no, it didn't budge. So I don't know. Do with it whatever you.
There is some info. Gino's out. Pickens is in. Does that help you at all, Chip?
Can't hurt the Raiders.
What about you, Aaron? Does it help you? Does it make any difference?
I mean, from what I saw last week, but again, it's kind of hurry up and offense and stuff they were playing last week. But the thing with Pickett you want to see right now, he's just going to get rid of the football. Geno Smith does that pump fake, the pressure comes. I think that should help the Raiders offense a little bit.
Scott Pritchard.
Buffalo Bills have the top-ranked rushing team in all of football. 155 yards per game, compliments of Cook, Allen, and company. What no one talks about is the top-ranked pass defense in all of football, your Buffalo Bills. Do you agree or disagree with me and Vegas that the Bills are the favorite, odds on, to still come out of the AFC, even if they're a 5th seed, because they're not intimidated by New England? Baltimore and KC are dead. So that leaves an overrated, overhyped Denver Broncos team. The one thing they do is get you the quarterback, but offensively they're average on their best days. And they've had miracle win after miracle win after miracle win. Thoughts?
I mean, as mentioned, I have them power rated to the top in the AFC, so I would agree with that right off the bat. However, as of today, they're the 6th seed. That it kind of depends how they're going to end up in the seeding process. Obviously, huge game this week against New England, but it's not easy if they got to go on the road and win 3 straight games or what have you. So that's kind of the handicap there, is to see how they fall. We saw, with Green Bay beating Chicago last week, how much of a difference that was for the playoff seeding. So certainly if they could get a decent seed, to me, yeah, they would be the favorite.
I'm surprised, Scott, that the Buffalo's record is as poor as it is. It Cook's one of the best running backs out there. Every time I watch him, he's breaking big plays. And you have Allen. Who wants to tackle him? I mean, once he starts moving, little Ben Roethlisberger type thing. But I'm surprised that Buffalo isn't better right now. Probably they may end up being the number 1 seed. Well, not number 1 seed. I don't think they can get that.
We'll see how it all plays out. Yes, Brian, you got one.
Yeah, the Buffalo thing, like all of our ears perked up. And you might be right about that. Are there any teams in either conference that have better records than Buffalo that you're just not buying? Like either of you guys, so you're not in on them, and you think that they're kind of fake in terms of going forward, even though they have a good record right now.
I think I mentioned Jacksonville, 9-4 Jacksonville. I'm not sold on them. I do think New England is. I mean, from a power rating perspective, I don't have them as the upper echelon, but I leave the door open with a new coach. The chemistry is great with them. May's been phenomenal so far. So if they can continue, Denver, I don't know if the home field is so valuable for that team, and if everybody's got to go through there or New England, makes a big difference for that team. I mean, the Chargers, hard to take serious even at 9-4. Just that offensive line is so beat up. You're asking so much of Herbert. So some of those teams I would mention, I guess.
I want to stay with that, Erin, as far as Jacksonville, because they blow the 19-point lead against Houston. They win that game. How much does that change your mind? And then Jacoby Myers has been a big acquisition to give Lawrence another out.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a first-year coach. They're on the improve. I leave the door open for them, but I just don't have them. It's certainly at the level of a Buffalo or some of these other better teams right now.
But everybody had the Colts when they were 7-1 going to the Super Bowl, or at least the AFC Championship game.
Right.
It was still, for most of us, that Daniel Jones, New York Giants thing. We weren't sold, and as soon as there was any feeling that he could not be 100% as far as once he's not a dual threat. That takes away from Jonathan Taylor's run, all that stuff. So for Jacksonville to dominate the Colts the way they did last week before the Jones injury, that showed me this team to me has improved a lot.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they look good in that one game. I just haven't seen it even compared to like the Colts offense. I haven't seen that Jacksonville offense be at that level they need to be with week in, week out. And if Lawrence can play well, they certainly have a shot. He's got the talent.
Scott Pritchard,
Yeah.
last one, then we're going to wrap up.
Appreciate it very much. Great panel, great show. Love you guys. Erin, Chip, Tom, you guys are 5-star, rock star. I agree with Ken here. The Jacksonville Jags have been singing a song about this team the entire year. They get no hype, no recognition. I said the Colts were a fraud on that panel weeks ago when they were 7-1. They've lost 4 of 5. They're going to continue to take a dump. Daniels is hurt, but the fact is, the Jacksonville Jags at home beat the Chargers 35-6. They're 9-4. They have the inside track to the division, a full game lead on the Houston Texans, and something no one has talked about. The top-ranked rush defense in all of football. They're going to be a 3 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah. That defensive coordinator is good. He's going to be a head coach after this year.
Let's give a round of applause to Erin Rynning, Chip Chirimbes. We'll see Tim Murray next week. Hang on to your tickets. Thank you to J-Lo for donating the wine. My name is Tommy Canale. If you haven't got my book, Shadows Over Clear Lake, make sure you get that. I have copies here with me. We'll see you guys next week. Good luck on your bets.
Get well, get right.